Hello everybody, SlimKirby here, and guess what guys, the Dynasty Warriors 3 stream playthrough has officially been completed. And here's a little follow-up video to kind of talk about some things now that the project is finally over, or at least this phase of the project is over. After about working on this endeavor for about 5 months now, I have officially finished all I wanted to do with that game. I finished Sunday, this past Sunday. I got the last level 5 weapon, which was the last weapon for the last character of the game that I hadn't gotten yet. And yeah, of all my kind of like tasks that I had, that I set out for to do for this game, that was the last of them. So that means we are officially done with Dynasty Warriors 3. And I just kind of wanted to use a video to kind of discuss how that went. I also have a few last gameplay things to showcase to you guys as well. And I'll probably have some of the gameplay going on in the background while I talk about some of that other stuff. But yeah, I wanted to show off a few things, talk about how the stream playthrough went, and also potentially discuss the future of doing some other like Warriors games in the future, because there was a reason I attempted this game in the fashion that I did, and for all the other Dynasty Warriors games, it's not going to be the same way, necessarily, so I took a very special approach with this particular game, especially since it was kind of, you know, going into this project, this was definitely not a project people were really asking for to a huge degree, but it was kind of a game that I'd always wanted to do because it's, you know, one of my favorite games of all time, and, you know, kind of a passion project of sorts. And, you know, before I ultimately finished off here at YouTube, I wanted to do this game to some extent, and, well, I've officially done it. So, you know, with that out of the way, there is still the possibility of covering other Warriors games, and I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit in this video as well. But before I get into any of that, like I said, I want to go over a few quick little gameplay things. Some things that you can also unlock in this game that I didn't have time to really showcase during the stream playthrough. I thought about actually doing this at the very end once I got all the weapons, but the last stream ended up being a very long stream, longer than I thought, so I wanted to kind of wrap up with whatever I finished with there, because let's just say that last weapon took me about 2.5 hours to get, so I wanted to very desperately take a break after doing that. So I decided that instead of doing like another stream just for this one thing, I would just kind of take some time and just record some stuff off camera to showcase this. So one thing I didn't really showcase that much in the playthrough, but it is something I think I did show it once, but I didn't really show it to a huge degree. There are actual costumes that you can unlock for characters. Basically, if you complete a Kingdom's story mode, or basically just if you complete of the 3 kingdoms, Wei, Wu, Shu, if you complete a Muso mode for a character from one of those kingdoms, you'll unlock basically a secondary costume for all characters of that kingdom. And, you know, it's the same for each kingdom, so you beat it with a Wu character, you get all the Wu alternate costumes. If you beat it with a Wei character, you get all the Wei alternate costumes. And, of course, if you do it with a Shu character, you get all the Shu costumes. I believe for the other characters from the other factions, it's kind of the same thing. I think if you just beat any story mode, Muso mode with any of the other characters from Extreme Legends, you'll also get their secondary costumes for all those characters. So those are basically secondary costumes you can unlock. However, 2 characters actually have an additional costume, and one of the characters we're not going to be showcasing because it basically involves doing everything in the game. And when I say everything, I mean everything I did in the Let's Play, in addition to maxing out the points for every single character. I'm not doing that because that'll take a lot more grinding, and, you know, I don't really think that needs to be shown on camera, so I'm not going to showcase it, but yeah, there is a costume you get for that. It's a alternate costume for Sun Shang Zhang, and I'll actually talk about what that costume represents after I talk about this next costume. Because Lu Bu is the other character that has a costume. I mean, go figure. He's like one of the more popular characters of the entire Dynasty Warriors franchise, after all. And to get his costume, you have to do a very, very specific thing. First of all, you have to have beaten Dong Zhuo's Musou mode in Extreme Legends, first of all. So once you do that, you can essentially try for this. Once you do that, you have to set the difficulty to very hard mode. Then, when you go into free mode, and make sure you're doing this on Extreme Legends free mode, not the original free mode, while holding L2 and R2, select the battle of Chibi, or Chirby, or whatever it's referred to as, and then pick the Dong Zhuo forces, while still holding L2 and R2 for this entire time. To be safe, I always have it held, like, even before I get to the free mode map. So just, hold the buttons there, and then enter that menu, and then don't let go of the buttons until you basically see the character select screen. For characters, you can actually use any character except Lu Bu. And if you try to use Lu Bu, I think it'll actually prevent you from using him if you've done the button sequencing right. He is on the character select screen, but I don't think you can actually select him. And yeah, once you select your character, you'll go to the actual map menu where you can set up your character and everything. And then once you do that, and if you start playing the game, you'll notice that the music is actually different. The music you're listening to is actually from Dynasty Tactics, which is another PS2 game that I'm guessing they released around this time. I don't remember which came first exactly, but essentially, yeah. Another game by Koei, and another game that features basically the roster from Dynasty Warriors. Instead of a hack and slash game, it's more of a turn-based strategy, grid-based battling game. And to be honest, it's another game that I would like to potentially showcase in the future, but not thinking about that right now, obviously. So, if you hear this music, you've done this correctly. You've essentially, started the unlock conditions for this costume. And all you have to do is just beat the battle. Keep in mind, you're playing on very hard mode, so it will be tough, it will be difficult. But that's how you unlock this costume. And another thing that'll showcase that you're doing this right is if you actually go up to Lu Bu during this battle, he will actually be wearing his Dynasty Tactics outfit. And yeah, that's basically the unlock here. So if you beat this battle on very hard with this music playing, you will get Lu Bu's Dynasty Tactics outfit. And you basically get it on the character select screen. You just press R2, I think, to switch to all the alternate costumes. And if you go to Lu Bu, if you try to hit over again, you'll actually select the Dynasty Tactics outfit. So, that's how you basically access it. And yeah, that's essentially what this secret unlock is. You just get another costume for Lu Bu, and I think it's really cool just because I am a fan of Dynasty Tactics, so I thought that was a really unique and fun addition to the game. And the additional costume for Sun Shang Zhang is also from Dynasty Tactics as well. So yeah, if you want to see hers, like I said, you have to basically get everything in the game. You have to unlock every item, every weapon, beat all the Musou modes, and then also not necessarily max out the stats of your character, but you do have to get all of your characters to 99999 points, which takes a really long time. So yeah, that's basically what you do to essentially get those costumes. So if you want to get those, go right ahead. And as far as other stuff to show, I guess one other thing I could show is that I never really did this during the Extreme Legends portion of the playthrough, but in addition to the bodyguards that you can create and make your own bodyguard faction, you can also have warrior bodyguards, which basically means once you select your character, you can select one of the playable characters to act as kind of a bodyguard for you. And yeah, they'll actually be fighting alongside you during the battle. I'm not sure entirely what their like AI is like. It's definitely not programmed to be like super great because they're just bodyguards. It'd be kind of unfair if they actually had like super powerful stats or anything. So I think they're much weaker than like what a regular bodyguard would be. But one cool thing you can do with the warrior bodyguards is if they have a Muso meter, and if that Muso meter gets maxed alongside yours, you can actually perform a double Muso attack using both characters, which is pretty cool. You can also do this in two-player mode as well, when you're doing like the two-player co-op, so you can do like a double Muso attack in that mind too, which is kind of neat. But yeah, that's essentially how that works. So yeah, that's basically all I really wanted to showcase. I also put this difficulty on Novice just to showcase that, yeah, Novice is really that easy. It's the easiest difficulty in the entire series, because I think it's even easier than easy mode in this game. But yeah, that is all the gameplay stuff I wanted to showcase. So, like I said, I'm going to kind of morph back to the gameplay here. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the project, the overall stream project, and basically what to expect in the future from not just this game, but other games of the Warriors series. So, overall, I'm pretty satisfied with how this playthrough went. I honestly didn't expect this to be a huge, like, driving factor for a lot of people to watch. I do understand this is a very, very niche game. Like I said before, I think I said this before, I don't know if it was that or one of my failed takes, but this was kind of a passion project for me personally, because this was a game that I've pretty much had since the very beginning of owning a PlayStation 2. And it's a game that, you know, because I didn't have a lot of PS2 games, it was a game I often went to whenever I played the system. And it was just a game that, you know, I have a lot of fond memories with, because I spent so much of my high school years playing it. You know, beating all the story modes, unlocking all the characters, just in general learning about the franchise and, you know, the kind of story background of kind of the Three Kingdoms era. And, you know, as a result, this has easily grown to be one of my all-time favorite games as a result. But yeah, I do recognize that it's, you know, maybe not the most enjoyable from, like, a Let's Play or stream sense, because I'm literally just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm running around a battlefield, and killing enemy soldiers, and, you know, that's it. That's basically all it is. But as I've said before numerous times, I find something therapeutic with this kind of gameplay. Usually, like, if I'm ever in, like, a bad mood, I kind of like using a game like this to, you know, kind of relieve some stress and all that pent-up anger and stuff, because, you know, that way I'm not unleashing it verbally on others and, you know, showing my ragey side or anything like that. And because of that, it's just a series that means a lot to me because of that, and just, you know, due to all the fun that I've had with this series over the years as well. So it's a series that means a lot to me. I recognize that it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I do appreciate those who were patient with me, you know, working through this game as long as I have been, and, you know, kind of being understandable of the fact that, you know, this was not really a playthrough done out of, like, necessity. It was more done just because this was a game I've always wanted to cover in some way, but I wanted to cover it in a very specific manner, and I felt like instead of just showing, like, oh, one character's Muso mode from every kingdom, I wanted to, you know, do every character. Unlock all the weapons, unlock all the items, showcase all the modes, and, you know, I'm glad that I was able to use this playthrough as a means to do that. And, you know, despite me knowing that this was kind of a niche game, there were some people who came around who, you know, got involved with this project. Two viewers specifically I really want to highlight. Randy. Randy was there for a good number of the streams. someone who actually mentioned during the last stream that they actually went back to Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends during my playthrough to actually kind of unlock everything that he never finished whenever he played the game before. And as a result, that actually kind of helped me, because I'd never actually gotten all the level 5 weapons of Dynasty Warriors Extreme Legends. I've gotten a few, but never actually got all of them. So, you know, Randy kind of served as a bit of a guide, or just, you know, consultant, I guess. Someone who I'd, like, you know, ask for advice whenever, you know, something would come up. If, like, okay, what do you think is the best way to approach this weapon? Or what do you think the best route is for this battle, and making sure a certain event happens. And, you know, they were very helpful in actually, you know, being someone to, you know, discuss and, you know, talk about that stuff with. So, and, you know, like I said, was there for a lot of the streams. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that, Randy. And, it was great talking to you about the series during, you know, this playthrough. I had a lot of good convos about that, so thank you for being a part of that. Also, another awesome viewer of mine, Mars Rover, also known as Travelocity Kirby here on YouTube, was also there for a huge number of the streams, and, you know, kind of came into this game not really knowing much about the series, and, you know, they stuck around and they also got really into it, or at the very least got very into, like, a lot of the memes and jokes that we kind of made throughout the game, or throughout the playthrough, which made it a lot more entertaining. You know, stuff like the Liu Bei's "Ah, my people," where he just, like, would say "Ah," like something else, like just random jokes like that. Zhao Qiao being the Pudding Lord, because it sounds like she's saying pudding whenever she uses a Muso attack, and, or not even just a Muso, just normal attacks really, but still, you know, just a lot of fun. It had a lot of fun, and, you know, for a project like that, a project like this, you really need that to kind of stay interested and invested, because it's a lot of doing the same stuff over and over again. I mean, you're probably seeing that just in this battle alone that you have going on in the background. It's literally just me just trying to slash as much as I can while, you know, talking about all this stuff. But yeah, both Randy and Mars were there for a great number of the streams. Definitely my most active viewers during these streams, and I really appreciate that. And I also want to give a huge shout out to DJ Mo 12. I've talked about DJ Mo a couple of times in the past, because they're kind of the inspiration for me doing this project in the first place, because a long time ago I actually noticed that they were the only one on YouTube that actually had a full all-character playthrough of Dynasty Warriors 3. And I was impressed, because when I first thought about doing this game for YouTube, I thought about the prospect of doing, you know, all the characters, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to want to do that, and I don't think there's anyone that's going to want to watch that. Well, DJ Mo 12 proved me wrong, because not only did he do that playthrough completely, he actually has a pretty strong following from doing that too. And, you know, kind of seeing that project, and then also kind of seeing him do a stream playthrough of the same thing essentially all over again, like last year, that's kind of what kind of got me driven to wanting to actually start this and do this myself. So I give a lot of, you know, a lot of inspiration to DJ Mo 12 for that. And not only that, but he was also, during my streams, he was actually there for a good number of them, and also kind of served, much like Randy, as another, you know, someone who I'd talk to, like, outside of the streams. Would give me suggestions of, like, how to unlock certain things, and also just, you know, give me certain information about, like, certain items and stuff that was actually kind of incorrect, that wasn't known for a good number of years. And also their friend Mr. Jum, who actually knows a lot of very obscure things about this game too. So thanks to his videos, I was able to find out some other interesting factoids about this game as well. So, you know, got a lot of good resource help from DJ Mo, as well as, you know, just, you know, being the one kind of encouraged me to do something like this, because this game is very important to me. Might be hard to believe based on what I normally cover on my YouTube channel, but no, it means a lot to me. So I'm glad I was able to cover it in some form on my channel here, and that's what I did. But, Slim, didn't you say you wanted to do a Let's Play for this game? Kind of in the same form as the Animal Crossing summary videos. Yes, I do want to do that. I will be honest, though. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do that yet. It is something I want to do. It is something I'm going to be, you know, mulling over and thinking about. I'm not going to promise any start to that. Once I do kind of get the ball rolling with those, I will try to see it through to completion. It's obviously not going to be as long as the main part of the playthrough was. It's going to be basically, you know, I'll talk about all the battles as I kind of go through each character. Eventually it'll get to a point where, like, you know, each character will essentially be like a couple of minutes where I talk about that character, their strengths, and some of their, you know, move pools and stuff. But it's going to be in a summary format, so it can be in a more digestible format if you don't really want to watch basically 30 streams, most of which were over 5 hours. So I'll definitely try to severely, like, you know, shorten those summary videos so they're in a watchable format, and a format that's in sensible viewing for a project like this. But yeah, those videos will be in the future. I have no plans to start working on those at the moment, because I'm just kind of, you know, trying to figure out a couple of things just with my channel right now, because there's a lot of things I've been kind of thinking about doing, and a lot of other projects I want to get moving on. Plus, there's also the Game Boy Advance Completion Experience, which is a series I'm kind of really wanting to continue working on right now. Like, that's kind of my biggest project at the moment for me, as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, I obviously want to spend a little more time focusing on that, but at some point I will get back to this game and do those summary videos. Just understand that it's probably not going to be for a while. And likewise, it's probably going to be a while before I do another Warriors game on this channel. Now, it's not going to be as long as it was from Dynasty Warriors 2 to 3, probably. But, who knows? Many things could happen in the next couple of years, so I honestly do not know. But, it is stuff I'm thinking about. I'll always be thinking about this stuff, but, for right now, I do kind of want a Warriors break, because as much as I love this game, the last stretch of this project definitely kind of put me through the ringer. The level 5 weapons were a lot harder than I expected them to be. But, you know, despite that, you know, and I wouldn't even say it was a low point, because there were some pretty awesome victories while getting the level 5 weapons, but it was definitely the roughest part of the playthrough, and after finishing all of that, you know, I think I have earned a well-deserved break from Warriors stuff for a while. So yeah, do not expect a playthrough of Dynasty Warriors 4 anytime soon, but it is something I will try to work on, or conceivably think about, whenever I do want to get moving on that. And the fourth game may not even be done in the same format as this playthrough was, because Dynasty Warriors 4 actually kind of takes a step back and works kind of similar to how Dynasty Warriors 2 worked. The characters are still, like, fully developed and unique as far as, like, gameplay is concerned, where, like, every character has their own, like, you know, weapons and weapon skills and stuff, and you know, level them up independently. But essentially the story mode, like, every character for each kingdom has the same story mode, basically. So every Shu character has the same story mode. Every Wu character has the same story mode. And you can kind of just, like, switch between characters throughout. But as a result, you have to level up all the characters individually too, so you still have to do a lot of playthroughs of the game to, you know, get everyone up to speed. So that one might actually be easier to do in a traditional Let's Play format. So I'm probably going to focus on doing videos again for that playthrough, but when I get to Dynasty Warriors 5, that will kind of work like Dynasty Warriors 3 did, so potentially I'll probably kind of do what I did here for Dynasty Warriors 5, but again, that's way in the future. I don't want to plan anything too far in advance, especially when there's so many other things to plan out. And there's also Samurai Warriors. Heck, I could even do like Hyrule Warriors or Fire Emblem Warriors too. Like, there's a lot of Warriors games, but regardless of what Warriors game it is, I still want a break. And I think I earned a break. So, you know what? I'm going to take a break. Hope you guys understand that. Okay. So, I think that's basically all I wanted to talk about as far as... Yeah, because I brought up the gameplay stuff. I brought up the future of this playthrough. Gave my thank yous. Talked about future Warriors games. Potentially Dynasty Tactics, which is, you know, again, the music you're hearing in the background. That could be something I could cover in the future as well. Not ruling that out. It's kind of grindy in its own right, though, because there's, like, multiple endings for every single, like, kingdom. But, you know, it's a much different game, too, so, you know, I'd have to figure that out, obviously. But, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Thank you guys for listening, though. I think that's all I'm going to do for this video. I'm going to go ahead and close it out. As far as future streams are concerned, like I didn't want to spend too much time on like what I'm going to be streaming next or anything. The next stream playthrough is going to be the probably the Pokemon or Super Mariomon ROM hack, which is basically Pokemon with Mario characters instead, and that's going to be pretty fun. But that's not going to be starting until probably mid-August. I'm going to also try to do the Mario Shuffler thing probably before that, and that'll be in an announcement video on its own, so just stay tuned for that, and yeah, we'll work on that later. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign out of this video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will talk to you guys next time. Later, folks.